Record.
Yep.
Nope. This meeting is being recorded.
G'day, listeners, and welcome again. I'll take it again. G'day, listeners, and welcome again to the 3 Feet Radio Show. Certainly a very exciting time with Suncorp Super Netball here in Australia starting very soon, and teams have started to move up to the hub in Queensland. And joining me in the studio today to discuss this further is my co-host, Luke Herbert. G'day, Luke.
G'day, Ben, and it's going to be great to get the perspective of the guests we're about to talk to. I think we've had recently the perspective from Australia and New Zealand, and they vary a little bit based on rule changes in their respective leagues. But, you know, I've been really looking forward to this interview. We've interviewed this guest before, and she's always been a delight, Ben.
She has been, and joining us today to provide an English perspective is Collingwood Magpies and England Roses defender in Geva Mentor. Good afternoon, G. How are you going?
Hello, Luke. Hello, Ben. Good afternoon, boys. It's great to be able to speak to you both with my English accent, albeit from Australia.
Yes. First of all, how have you coped with COVID-19 and not being able to see your family back in the UK, G? I know you get back when you came to see Mum.
Yeah, obviously it hasn't been ideal with the situation that's going on in the pandemic around the world, but the one beautiful thing with the virtual space at the moment is I've been able to have lots of contact with both Mum and Dad who are in England and in the Netherlands, being able to keep in contact, and with everyone being based at home, it meant that I've had lots of time to be able to catch up with them. But I know things are starting to move in a better direction back in the UK as I guess restrictions start to lift. They're both very well, thankfully. They've managed to keep safe and healthy throughout this whole time, and I guess keep themselves occupied, which I think has been the main thing for people, and keeping busy basically, because it weighs a lot on you in that sort of mental health space too.
And just sticking with the UK for a moment, the Netball Super League in the UK or over there has been cancelled outright the whole season. So how do you see that affecting player development?
I think obviously a decision that had to be made. It's not great, but in sense of everyone's health and well-being, that's at the foremost, and I think everyone will support the decisions that had been made. I know behind the scenes they're working frantically to try and provide something for players. I know England Netball have gone back to training this week, albeit in hub stages and with social distancing rules in place. So it's great that the English girls be able to continue on training and hopefully sort of aim towards potential internationals at the end of the year or early next year. The girls that I guess that are in the Super League teams, I feel for that aren't representing their countries at the moment because they don't have any netball and they've just been training at home. So hopefully, I guess Super League and England Netball are able to put something together so these girls can actually get on court and have a little bit of, whether it's a mini tournament or a Fast Five style or just some kind of competition would be great. But it's just obviously great for them to know that restrictions are lifting, so hopefully they can start to train back together, albeit in small groups.
And with looks like no consolation cup between the Diamonds and the Silver Ferns and no quad series either, Geva, could you see yourself and a fair chunk of the other England Roses squad players who play in the SSN making up some sort of all-star team to play against the Diamonds? So that way there's still a bit of international netball at the end of the year.
I mean, I played in a bushfire game right at the start, actually, just before the pandemic kicked right off, and that was a lot of fun. So something around that would be great, albeit I'd love it for it to have normal rules, international rules, instead of all these crazy 2-point shots and I guess a bit of Fast Five action in there. But I think at the end of the day, as we're moving into maybe the second year of an international program, our international coaches want hands-on and they want to be able to utilise and have as many members of their team as possible as they build up towards Com Games and World Cup. So although it'd be lovely to play a All-Stars game, and I'm all for entertaining the crowd, I think it's also important to remember that each nation is going to want to have as much contact with their players, whether the Silver Ferns, the Australian Diamonds or the English Roses or whoever else. Actually, those contact times are starting to build on combinations. So it really depends, I guess, what the restrictions are in terms of can even the English girls get back who are based out in Suncorp Supernet will get back to England to be able to play, which is meant to be a Jamaica series at the end of the year. What are the restrictions like in Jamaica as well? Are girls going to be able to leave there? So there's a lot of things up in the air at the moment. I think all you can do is hope for the best and keep planning as if things are going to go ahead. And as you can see at the moment, we're able to adapt and be on the fly. And I think that's the beauty of having some great role models within our sport, as we take the knocks and the punches as they come and we try and put out a product out there because we love the game so much.
I have to confess a degree of bias here. I'm not even going to try and have it. I love all those all-star concepts or World Seven teams. You know, I hope that the Silver Ferns will play against a team like that this year. So, but you know, removing my bias and one-eyedness now, because I have to be at least semi-objective. Otherwise, Ben will be having words in my ear after the show. But what's your point of view on the two-point shot goal as a defender?
Yeah, on that, Luke, I definitely feel I've been part of 2 World Cup teams prior to this year in terms of an all-star team. And you're right, it's great to be able to suddenly train and play alongside people that you've been challenged along through on the international stage. So I'm definitely all for that as a bit of a spectacle. And it would be great to do it again. And obviously only having one match earlier on in the year, it would be nice to be able to back it up because we obviously didn't put out the greatest performance as an all-star team. It definitely takes a little bit longer to click together, but definitely as a defender with this new 2-point shot, it definitely makes things a lot harder. You're so used to having your anchor at the front and using those triangles at the front, and now you've almost got a shooter that can stand underneath the ring as another form of the triangle, so the ball starts swinging around everywhere and trying to defend that. And it just seems that netball is such an attacking game, and we keep enhancing it more for the attackers. I'm just waiting for one of these days for them to start to make it easier for defenders, whether they get rid of the intimidation rule or marking out a court when your big toe slightly goes out of court, or just bringing something in to help the defenders. Who knows, we're in Australia, maybe they can bring in the kind of Aussie mark style, so running up the back of someone and taking a great mark. But it's another adaptation we've got to go with. I'm probably not a massive fan of it, but until I get to grips with it and able to play it, then I'll be able to, I guess, respond properly. But with only 9 days to go to the start of the season, we're definitely on a bit of a back leg in terms of trying to figure out how we're going to play this new rule, which does change the dynamic down in the attack end.
And you arrived in Queensland earlier this week, Geva. How are you and your Magpie and settled into the environment? Where exactly have they got you quarantined? And once you've done your quarantine period, where are you moving to?
Yeah, wow. Not just a crazy week, but a crazy sort of couple of weeks, a month leading for us. It's been so disruptive in Melbourne, and we're actually thankful to actually be out of Melbourne and be able to sort of train and live slightly normally. So at the moment we're based in Brisbane. We're not too far away from the Nissan Netball Centre where we're training at the moment. So we're able to still train on court and in the gym, although with restrictions, and no one else is allowed in that space until we've completed our 14-day quarantine. And then when we actually go back to the hotel, we're in our rooms, and we provide our own meals for breakfast and lunch, and then dinner is provided for us through our nutritionist. So we're in quarantine for the next 14 days, or we've got now, we're day 4 at the moment. So we've still got 10 days to go. But it's actually, the lifestyle is pretty good in terms of we've got our own rooms, bathroom, kitchen, so we're able to kind of live as normally as we probably would be, and almost probably the same sort of restrictions that people are going through in Melbourne, minus the face masks at the moment.
And what was your training like before you gave it with your fellow team members from Collingwood, or were you just training by yourself, in other words, because of the pandemic?
Yeah, everyone's training has been so different throughout COVID, and we see there's COVID 0.1 and COVID 2.0 with the restrictions obviously coming back in. And I think a lot of us were able to go away and work on our fitness, which has been great, but it's the strength training that's probably taken a bit of a back burner. And so the last sort of month or so when we've been able to get back in the gym as a team, that's been a real focus for us, as well as on court. Skill wise, it's obviously very hard to be able to play netball on your own. I was thankful that I actually live with my brother, so I was able to rope him in a few times to throw around the ball for me and sort of practice a few skills that I needed to. But other than that, it has been so disruptive, and I've just been so impressed with not only my team, but I guess all the girls in the league, the way they found innovative ways to be able to keep fit and keep going ready for this season that's going to be starting August 1.
And you spoke about your brother, Raul. He's quite a giant, Geva. How's he been coping with the situation? And obviously, it's probably been good to at least have one family member close to you here in Australia, while your mum and your dad are still in the UK or in Europe.
I'm very lucky to be able to live with my brother, and I guess, like you mentioned, to have that sort of family member close, because otherwise I am on my own here in Australia. He is my little brother, albeit stands at 6'11", and he's been such a great asset throughout this whole sort of duration of the pandemic. Not only has he been my training buddy, he's also been good company at home. Also those times when I'm feeling a little bit unmotivated, he's taken head chef roles in the kitchen and been looking after his big sister. So he's a good companion, and it's going to be real tough, I guess, being away from him for the next 3+ months, being based in this hub up in Queensland, and hopefully if restrictions do lift a little bit, I'll be able to get him up here with me, to at least be able to come and visit. And I spent obviously a couple of years up here, as did my brother, so he's got lots of friends and knows Queensland very well. So it's tough to be able to leave him by himself back in the apartment, and I hope he'll be all right, because it is definitely a lot harder when you're on your own and not able to go out now in Melbourne. So yeah, but he's doing all right at the moment, and we touch base quite a lot, which is really good.
Just on a less serious note, but can Collingwood fans and supporters buy the merchandise like the top you're wearing?
I know. So we've got some brand new kit coming soon. We're going to be launching it all next week. So yeah, I mean, I'm all for definitely people living in Queensland being able to purchase some merchandise, so we can have some Collingwood supporters in the crowds for the rest of the season, as we're based up here and hubbing up in Queensland. So yeah, watch this space next week. It'll be all over our socials, all over the Collingwood Magpies socials, and there's lots of amazing new kit that's coming out, and we're really lucky to be able to wear it and feel very swanky in it as well.
And about 9 days, like you said, Geva, until the Suncorp Super Netball season does start, which young Collingwood player or players should netball fans be keeping an eye on? Because obviously we haven't been able to see much due to COVID.
Yeah, so we're actually quite in a fortunate position that we've got lots of new faces within our team. We've obviously got a dynamo mid-court going on, not just the Brown girls coming back into force. We've also got the likes of Molly, and we've picked up Kelly over from South Australia, who's joining us. But the ones that I think to watch is definitely going to be those girls that have been in the Magpies setup for the last couple of years, and now this is their time to shine. Their time to be able to solidify those court positions, and Gabby Sinclair in that goal attack position, and then Matilda Garrett in that goal defence position. I think it's their year definitely to be able to take those opportunities with two hands and step out on court and really, I guess, stamp their authority in this league and at this level. So I'm very excited to see what they bring, and we obviously have the beauty of being able to bring two extra players in Emma Ryde and Nia Allen. So I'm excited to see those girls in the mix of it, and so definitely some bright future coming up through our Collingwood Magpies setup.
And just speaking of the newer players, given the circumstances that we've addressed in this interview, and Ben and I have talked to other guests about it too, what's it like being bringing the new players into the squad from the point of view of having them both sort of the approach off the team you take, off the court with the team, and on the court you sort of have links on the court. So, you know, if you play with someone for a while, you sort of know instinctively when to pass the ball to them, if that makes a whole lot of sense. This is kind of one of those questions that you can visualize, but it's hard to describe.
Yeah, so I mean, we're fortunate enough that we have 4 training partners that have been training alongside us, not just off court with fitness, but on court as well. So being able to build and strengthen those combinations, and the 2 of the girls that we've taken as our extras are some of our training partners. So they've been with us through day dot, through pre-season at the beginning of the year. So it's great that be able to incorporate them in within our team. And I think the hub situation and the fact that we're all together has kind of solidified us as a group. And I'm actually obviously the oldest in the team, and I'm sharing with one of the youngest in the team, in Nia Allen. And it's just great to be able to get to know these girls, and you're forced into that environment where this is your new family now. So we back each other not only on court, but now off court too as well. And it's just great to be able to build those relationships and friendships up off court, because I think that definitely comes into balance and comes into good stead when you're back on court.
And you mentioned Emma Ryde before. I remember seeing her at underage nationals a number of years ago. She's just so athletic and so tall. You could almost say she's very similar to like M.Y. Kumwenda, based purely on the volume of shots she puts up. She's a freak.
Yes, and I have the privilege or the fatigue of being able to play on her at training, and it's literally like a plyometric session. She's so tall that I'm just jumping the whole time, and she's come on so well throughout this this pre-season block with us. She's really holding strong, and she's really improving her shot range as well. Now we've got that 2-point shot in there as well, and her height. Sometimes you just can't beat height. And so it's great to be able to see her fit into our squad, and with our feeders being able to feed her nicely as well, and building those relationships and strengths on court. It's nice to be able to have that change up, and lots of opportunities for people to be able to get on court with the dynamics of only Shim in that goal shooter, and then having Naya and Gabby at goal attack, and then having the tall one like Em bringing in at goal shooter as well. So it's good to have that variety and that diversity in our attack end.
And I know your love of the beach is quite well documented, Geva. It used to be one of the things we used to talk about all the time when we used to catch up more regularly. Obviously, you're going to be up there for 3 months, so hopefully there'll be some beach time allowed when you're out of quarantine.
100%. Winter has definitely been very cold on me, and I feel like I'm losing my tan. So I'm excited to be able to break out of quarantine, to be able to get back somewhere in Queensland and be able to enjoy that warmer water and some sunshine on my face, because I definitely need it, and I go very pasty during these winter months.
All right, G, thanks very much for joining us. It's been a very long time, but 9 days to go until you can get back out there on court. I'm sure you're very excited.
Absolutely. Lovely to speak to you both. Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, G. Great chat. Cheers. Have a good one.